Welcome to this third module. What are we going to do in this third module? We're going to look at some different angles, perhaps some more difficult angles, because now we've just looked most of the mushrooms from the side, but you can look from the top, you can look from under it, from various angles, and we're going to play a little bit with that, even do some different shapes. And I'm going to just show you how to approach this. So what are you going to need for this? You're going to need your pencil. And I've got a fine liner. Use the pen, whatever you use. I'm switching to a fine liner now, but whatever pen you've been using so far, you can keep on using it. All right, let's begin. So far, we dealt with mushrooms that had pretty much their stalk, the stem going straight or a little bit under an angle, but this one has a nice shape in it. So the first thing we would need to do is to do a box around it. So let's see how large would we do that. I'm going to draw it, instead of drawing it on my iPad, I'm going to draw it right away here. And I'm going to draw a box, and I'm going to say, well, it's definitely not a square, it is a rectangle. There you go. And a bit longer. And I'm going to say this will be the box I'm going to work in. Looking at this part, this is under a nice angle. So what I'm going to say, okay, I want it right there. And I think a bit larger. Around this angle would work. Or that might be too small. Let's see. No, I think we'll get away with it. And I'm going to just say this will be then the middle. I think we'll get away with it here. And I'm drawing in the cap right away. The cap is like this. It's quite nice and easy cap. And there you go. Now in this lesson, I'm not going to worry about shading and things like that. We're going to just look at just purely the shapes. So I've got my cap, but now I'm noticing one thing. I think my box is slightly too small. So I'm going to enlarge my box, make it slightly larger. So I think I'm not going to get all the room I need to get a nice curve in it. There you go, a bit larger. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is there's a leaf or something here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a vulva, a sac here. We're going to make it nicer when we're done. Now, this has a bit of an S shape, kind of an S, isn't it? But the other way around in an S. An S goes like this, and this goes like inverted S shape. I know 2 points definitely. I want to end up here, so in the middle. I'm going to draw that middle line, and I do want to end up here in the middle. So the next thing I could do, I could just draw in that S shape, or I could put some reference points. Now what I'm noticing here, the first reference point would be this point going straight down here, a short piece down, short distance down. I would put a first reference point. The next reference point, what I'm going to do is this point here would be a good point right somewhere. So we're ending here, then we need to go there. And if I put a point there and a point, let's put a point on the iPad so that you can see it. Hang on. So that would be my first reference point. The next reference point would be around there. So this would be from the stalk going down, from the cap going down straight. And the next would be under a nice angle around there. And what next reference point I would need is this point, and then I can draw in pretty much that S. Now at this point I'm going to look from here, not totally straight up. This would be straight up. So it's off, slightly off. So if I would put this straight up, I would move over a little bit. And there I got 3 points. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch it. I'm going to start at the top. Then I'm going to make that nice curve to this one. And then I'm going to actually curve back to this point and create that curve. Now that is not totally right, isn't it? This point needs to be a bit higher. Let's go for... And that's why we do it nicely in pencil. we want this one there so that we can actually create that nice curve better. There you go. Right, good. And then the next thing is, of course, now I'm noticing that at the bottom it is quite wide, so I'm going to make use of that. At the top it is quite a lot smaller. So I'm just going to start here and then move to this point and keeping my eye on this shape, and I'm doing the same here, and I'm moving slowly closer to it, and there we go. And now we've got that nice S shape. Now the cap could have been larger, so we could still do that, of course, create a bit of a larger cap. There you go. Now, and erase this part, going slightly outside of the box today. And there you go. Okay, and now what we're going to do, we're going to create a bit of a real vulva of this, going around it, as we've done a little bit with the other ones, and that looks then nice. And this stands on its own. We don't need stuff around it. This will be great like it is. And we can correct everything a little bit. That's the nice thing about sketching. And now we've got a nice one. And the next thing what you can do is you can of course shade this, you can put in the texture, you can use the pen to draw it, and I'm going to actually do that with the pen so that I can in a minute erase the rest. And I'm going to look at the bottom and I'm seeing that this goes up a little bit and a little bit of a curve in it. Now I'm going to draw in this. And I'm going to draw this part. And we're going to do this a little bit nicer as it is. There you go. And now I'm noticing if I zoom in, my iPad is going to cooperate. Yes, you can see a little bit of the back here, so not totally straight, and around here just a little bit under it, and we're going to do that too. All right. Now, and then once I zoom in, I see all kinds of nice textures and things, but we're going to just add a little bit of that, but I'm not going to shade this one all the way. And here add some shading there, just lightly. This one I'm going to of course add more. This one too is under there. All right, and now I'm looking at this mushroom. I'm going to add just a little bit of texture here and there. Some dots on it. There you go. Now on the cap there's great textures too, but I don't think I'm going to do all of that. All right, now only thing I'm going to do here, add hatching at the bottom, but I'm not going all the way up because I see it disappears, and I might as well add then a little bit of hatching there, and perhaps an extra layer down here, and I'm going to leave it like that. And that completes the first one. At this moment I'm not going to do more on this one. You can of course shade it all the way you like it, but I'm going to move to the next one in the next lesson where we're going to do a little bit more tricky angle than this one. So now we've dealt with a nice shape, shown you how to bring in a shape, but how about when we have photographs under an angle where you see more from the top or from the bottom? That's for the next lesson.